Long ago, when the world was bright and full of stories, an evil wizard gained the power to touch the face of God. Narrativa, goddess of stories and weaver of our world, banished him to the void, but not before he stole a piece of her divine essence. With this newfound power, the wizard lay a dread curse upon all the world, the Glyph Purge, which struck from the minds of all mortals the knowledge of how to read and write. Now, all that stand between the Isle of Meotia and an age of endless ignorance are the bards, who tell stories of distant lands, exotic creatures, and brave heroes. This is one such tale.
Hello and welcome to Challenge Rating Zero, the latest and greatest Dungeons & Dragons podcast to hit the internet airwaves. I am Sam, your Dungeon Master, and I am joined, as always, by my longtime friends and adventuring companions.
Hello, I'm Brian, and I play Hektor the Gatekeeper.
Hi, I'm Beth, and I play Rilla Longshadow.
Hey there, I'm Alex, and I play Ruger Firehide.
And last but not least, we have the man who calls himself Michael, but who we call Parker. Michael Parker playing the druid Zurabak. Say hi, Parker.
Hi, Parker.
Fantastic. We are joined, dear listeners, once again for a tale of epic fantasy. Oh boy, having a real chill out episode this time. Last time we got into some real wedding shenanigans. Things got pretty wild, pretty hot and naked, I think would be accurate to say of our last episode. You guys think that's fair?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Aunt Maria was a handful.
I get that reference.
Oh, you managed to get out of that.
Yeah, all he had to do was burn down the place.
Aunt Maria may have gotten a handful or two. Yeah. So I guess let's just get right into it. When last we left our heroes, Hektor, Rilla, Zurabak, and the lawman Ruger Firehide were attending the wedding of Ruger's ex-wife Shira to the mysterious spellcaster known as the Diviner. It was quite the affair, the social event of the season. A massive gathering of local nobles, merchants, students, and faculty from the College of Everspring, all arrayed in the courtyard in front of the Diviner's tower. Our heroes were tasked with running light security, mostly on drama patrol, tasked with taking care of any problemed guests that may put a damper on the proceedings. However, it was discovered during the nuptials that an old enemy of Ruger Firehide had been living here in Everspring and had constructed a dastardly plot to trap Ruger Firehide and destroy everything he owned. Jarmax, an old, corrupt sheriff from the town of Sandstone that Ruger used to call home, had armed all the caterers at this wedding with virulently poisoned daggers and held hostage the safety of every person in attendance if Ruger did not play by his rules. He was given a simple choice: watch all of his possessions be burned in front of his face, including the white wood bow that he gifted his dearly departed daughter Navi, and had to choose between allowing Jarmax to escape to secure the safety of everyone at the wedding, or take his vengeance upon Jarmax, triggering a violent assault upon this most joyous day. Ruger chose the path of light, taking this opportunity to expunge the demons in his past, and strode his way, naked and bereft of all his worldly possessions, back to the wedding, allowing Jarmax to escape on the back of his own trusty steed, Cole. Meanwhile, at the wedding, Zurabak had been accidentally stalking a local merchant who was responsible for providing the poison for this dastardly plot. I say accidentally because Zurabak was completely unaware of Thaddeus and his connection to this plot. But after Thaddeus attempted to poison Zurabak, the gang chased down the nervous merchant and discovered his role in the plot, which triggered a small group of these toughs disguised as caterers to assault our heroes in order to silence the snitch, a small melee ensued, knives were drawn, poison was applied and resisted. Ruger punched a guy butt-ass naked and smited him with the power of Protos, and Rilla Longshadow enveloped an entire catering tent with a fireball spell in the middle of a crowded wedding. Thankfully, the only people harmed were these murderous caterers, and after the dust settled, the threat was ended. All of the gangsters were apprehended by the town guard and the Knights of the Order of the Quill, and Shira and the Diviner were given a moment's peace to dance the night away in the ashen remnants of their wedding. We ended last time with a surprising windfall, as though all of Ruger's belongings were put to the torch, including every magical item and bit of money to his name. Hektor generously provided all of Zurabak's money, the entire cut from all of his adventures to date that he had not spent and had no interest in retaining, so that Ruger might restock before they go out on their next mission. And so we join our heroes now, as we so often do, on a bright and sunny morning in the sprawling, brightly colored metropolis of Everspring, where they are dining in the cafeteria of the college. You all have recovered from the night before. I assume some of you are nursing a hangover. What are we all dining on this morning?
Well, you see, in the gates, we have a classic hangover cure. A little bit of ale, just a little bit of that alcohol, mixed with some tomato juice, a raw egg, and then just a little bit, just a skosh of dirt. And that's like the perfect hangover cure.
Fantastic. So as Hektor is assembling this gruesome cocktail, what are the rest of you enjoying?
Rilla's feeling great because she's 17 and you don't feel a lot of liquor at that point. So she's having crepes with probably some strawberries and some bacon and like a really nice herbal tea.
Ooh la la. Nice. Yeah. The crepes, those are those thin pancakes, right? The thin ones?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I like those. Ruger, what are you having for breakfast?
Black coffee and eggs. Easy. Over easy. With toast and bacon.
Fantastic. And Zurabak, what has been piled before you this morning as you sit in your bespoke chair at the end of the table?
Wedding cake, wedding cake, wedding cake, wedding cake.
Well, as the students around me are just chanting wedding cake, clearly Zurabak's gotten away with it.
Absolutely. The students around you that regularly place bets and run the odds on what can be shoved down your gullet next are chanting in chorus wedding cake as a very harried kitchen staff member brings forth a large silver platter with the scooped up sweepings left over from the disastrous wedding the night before. And yeah, you have a large pile of wedding cake bits stacked up before you. The frosting lovingly mixed with bits of dirt. There's a solid boot print in one of the pieces, but you don't mind. It is buttercream with a raspberry filling, which you barely register, as I assume you sprinkle it with poison and hoover it into your face.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Fantastic. Well, as you all
Wait, you got the frosting and the filling. What's the cake?
it is traditional wedding cake on the Isle of Meosha, which is a chocolate and vanilla swirl, which denotes the merging of two lives into one.
Lovely.
Did you
course.
think I wouldn't have an answer, Brian? I'm fucking good at my job.
I didn't think you wouldn't have an answer. I just wanted to know that answer. Thank you.
Sorry, I just wanted to flex real quick. My apologies. I've been getting a lot of likes on Twitter lately, and it's all gone to my head.
Let's go.
Oh, Jesus. Why? It is as you were all enjoying this lovely and refreshing breakfast at the cafeteria at the college that a strange sensation comes over all of you. You feel a moment of clarity as the experiences of your past few adventures wash over you in a golden glow, and you all level up!
Yay!
Our protagonists
Wow!
have gained 2 levels since overcoming the last few adventures on their docket. And so, we're going to go over real quick what everyone took levels in and what cool special shit they got. Let's start with Hektor the Gatekeeper, Keeper of the Gates. You are a barbarian and bard. What's the balance now? What levels do we pick up?
Well, I picked up, obviously, 1 level of ninja and 1 level of Wujin.
Oh, that's a good call.
Multiclassing is very important.
Yes.
No, both of my levels are bard. So I am now 6 levels barbarian, 4 levels bard.
Lovely.
Got some of the basics. All my saving throws went up by 1. My base attack went up a few times. Some skill points put in some places. I did gain access to 2nd level spells. So I have some brand new spells in my repertoire as a bard. We will see those when they happen. I also...
Oh,
Nope.
come on.
That's not fun.
Yes, it is. I also got Inspire Competence as a bard, which will allow me to help my companions complete skill tasks
That sounds like an insult.
on occasion.
You can't do this on your own. Let me help you here.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. You can't do it on your own. Let me help you.
Fantastic. So Hector's become a bit more of a hype man. You put some skill points in what kind of stuff? Perform, I assume?
Yes, performs pretty solid now. I mostly, since I took these levels in Bard, I focused on bardic things. Diplomacy, intimidate, knowledge, history, because I have learned more stories.
Okay. And you're just going to keep those spells a secret, huh?
Yeah, well, I'll use them when that time comes, and it'll be fun.
All right, listeners, I guess keep an eye out. All right, who we got next?
Probably keep an ear out since this is an audio format.
I don't know how you guys listen to podcasts, but I never take my eyes off the thumbnail the whole time it's playing. Is that not normal?
I just print out the whole transcript and read it through.
Oh, God, you sick fuck. All right. Well, since you spoke up, Parker, what did Zurabak get for these 2 levels? What did you continue your pure druidic path?
Sure.
Okay, so 2 more levels of druid. What kind of cool stuff did you get?
He's immune to poison now.
If you can believe that, dear listeners, if you can even process that information, as a druid of this level, Zurabak is now completely immune to poison, so we don't even have to pretend to have him roll saves anymore. Yeehaw.
I know it's a little sad because Fortitude also went up by 1, so now versus poison, that's on 11. Just add on top of whatever. It's a little disappointing.
We'll find other ways to use that fortitude. And then, what else did you get?
5th level spells.
5th level spells, dear listeners. Securing his status as the most powerful spellcaster in this party, since he did not multi-class. For those of you following along at home, which is every one of you except the 5 of us, because that's how podcasts work.
They might be following along at work.
Zurabak now has access to 5th level druid spells, which include things like, Baleful Polymorph, which transforms subject into a harmless animal. Call Lightning Storm, which calls down fucking lightning from the heavens. things like Insect Plague, where he can summon swarms of locusts to attack his enemies, and Tree Stride, which will allow him to step into one tree and out of another far away. Those of you with keen memories might recall that Gator, the druid from our earlier adventures, used this ability to quite interesting effect. Very cool. So yeah, our resident druid is even more druidic, and now it could just completely fucking immune to poison, which is great. Rilla Longshadow. What did you get? What levels did you get?
I took 2 more levels of sorcerer, so I'm a level 9 sorcerer and a level 1 rogue.
Woo!
That means that I got to, since I don't get a list of spells, I got to pick the spells I just know forever, or I guess until I change them out with another level up.
Yes.
I got 1 0 level spell, 1 2nd level spell, 1 3rd level spell, and 2 4th level spells. The 4th level spells are new.
Yeehaw.
I also get a whole four skill points for 2 levels. So,
Would you like to regale us with what particular spells you've acquired?
yeah, unlike Brian, I'll share happily. So, I got Ray of Frost as my 0 level because I don't have a lot of attacky spells.
Very cool.
My 2nd level spell is Whispering Wind, which will let me communicate with via the wind for a mile per level, so I can send messages 9 miles now.
Excellent.
My 3rd level, I picked Tongues because Rilla is spec'd to be other people, so I should probably be able to speak every language.
Very cool. So yeah, Tongues is a spell that just lets you speak any fucking language you hear, which is great.
Yeah, and that's for 10 minutes a level, so that'll help me just, be somebody else. And then my 2 2nd level spells, I am finally getting Polymorph, which is a big deal, and I've been waiting for it. And my other spell is Bestow Curse.
Excellent. Polymorph is an excellent spell, perfectly in line with your build. For anyone that doesn't know, Rilla's been using the Alter Self spell to become different like people. And now with Polymorph, she can turn into animals, dragons, she can turn into beasts of all kinds, shapes, and sizes. There's a limit. She can't turn into anything like more powerful level-wise than she is, but Rilla has unlocked the ability to turn into just nearly every type of creature in the monster manual, with a few exceptions.
You could never trust that anything around you isn't me, ever again.
Fantastic. And
Does that mean like inanimate objects?
I mean, it has to...
Can she be like the dresser?
No. Unfortunately.
It has to be...
So she's not a mimic.
No, not yet. Not yet. I'm sure that's coming
Give it
up.
time.
Yeah. Any living creature. Very cool. And Bestow Curse is just like it sounds. You curse an enemy with some terrible effect. There are some examples of what it can do, like devastate someone's ability scores or make it harder for them to attack or take any actions. But you can also make up your own curses, and oh my god, I can't wait to see what kind of terrible stuff Rilla comes up with.
It's my first necromancy spell, so yay.
It's just the Stricken's really rubbing off on you. And that is going to bring us to the lawman Ruger Firehide. Ruger?
Yeah, so in light of Rilla picking up a necromancy spell, I decided to take 2 more levels of paladin. So I'm really leaning in on the lawful good slayer of evil as he hangs out with the shapeshifter and whatever Zerback is.
I believe I'm classified as swamp monster.
You can learn necromancy spells and not be evil, sir.
It's
The age-old debate.
I'm just dabbling, just a little light necromancy, no big deal. Okay. But yeah, with 2 levels of paladin, I got a little bit beefier on the fighting field. I also picked up an aura of courage, which is super cool because I am now immune to fear, and magical or otherwise, and my companions standing within a 10-foot range of me get bonuses to their fear effects or fear saving throws. And I'm also just immune to disease, magical or otherwise. So picked that up just in time for the Rockjoy quest. So, you know.
Excellent.
Yeah, and I can turn undead, which I'm sure I'll do great at.
Yeah, quite
when
the
time
windfall
comes with my
there.
no charisma build.
Our party paladin now has the ability to make undead run in fear of them. And also, Alex, I don't know if you noticed, as a level 4 paladin, you start getting paladin magic.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. So you also, in addition to the smattering of ranger spells you have, you now have the ability to cast, I think, like one first level paladin spell, which is fun too.
It is fun.
Yeah, I think that goes off your wisdom, so it's the same casting stat as your ranger spells. What is your wisdom score, by the way?
14.
14. Very cool. So yeah, you get to prepare and cast one paladin spell a day.
Well, that is exciting.
Yeah. Paladin spells are fun. Let's see. So examples of first level paladin spells. Things like Bless, Cure Light Wounds, Detect Undead, Magic Weapon. Yeah, very cool. All right, nice. So, our heroes have reflected on their past few adventures and gained some levels, gaining in power. That is good for that. Gaining some interesting new special abilities. Can't wait to see how those work out. And then I believe, Mr. Firehide, you need to replenish your gear. Last time, a supervillain burned every single item you owned. And so you're kind of starting from zero, but you were bequeathed Zurabak's entire cut from every adventure y'all have ever had. And how much money did that turn out to be?
7,099 gold pieces.
7,099 gold pieces. Fantastic. So I assume after breakfast, you hitch up your borrowed pants and head out to restock.
Yeah, absolutely. Time to become the new me.
And where are we heading to get our adventuring supplies?
Oh, man. Well, I need a great many things, and there's only one place that I know of where to go. I go see that shark, Evan, at Evan's Emporium.
Fantastic. You stroll through the streets of the city of Everspring and end up where you always do, at Evan's Emporium. Evan is holding court over his empty store, as he always is, as you walk in, and he's delighted to see you as always. Oh, hey, Mr. Firehide, it's really good to see you. You look, a lot less, equipped than you normally do. I thought I remembered you having more things. Are you good?
That's a astute observation there, Evan. You got a keen eye on you. Like a shark.
Well, I noticed your pants are held up with rope, so it seems like you've kind of fallen on hard times.
Nope, that's just the style of the, I'm really a trendsetter, Evan. You see, rope belts are in.
Oh, cool. Okay, I'm gonna get a rope belt too then. He starts, cutting a length of rope.
Well, hey, I'll take 50 feet of that while you're cutting, just if you don't.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Firehide. We don't do charity. You're gonna have to buy this stuff.
Wow. Okay, Evan. Buddy. All right, look. You and I have known each other for a long time. I think it's time we cut the act. All right. And I slap my sack of 7,000 plus gold pieces on the table and I say, Evan, today I'm here shopping for the good stuff.
Is this a prank? Is this another one of those pranks? 'Cause that's more money than I've ever seen. Are you pranking me, man?
I actually look around for any visible signs of Rilla or anyone who you said the store's empty, but I'm paranoid. And then I look back at Evan. I don't think this is a prank, but you can never really tell until it happens to you.
Okay then. Well, if you're dropping this kind of coin, we're gonna have to go into the special stock. And he just like opens a cabinet behind him. He's like, there it is, the special stock.
It glows gold, right? Like you never see the inside of it.
Yeah. So what do you pick up from Evan's Emporium?
So I'm gonna restock some low-level equipment that we don't need to get into.
Yeah.
But I am going to buy a replacement chain shirt, and I'm gonna go ahead and pick up another heavy crossbow with those bolts that I diligently track.
Oh yeah, very important to track ammunition.
Yeah.
I think I've been very clear about that from the jump.
Yeah, absolutely. A throwing axe for sure. And then for my kind of switcheroo here, I am going to stick with the +1 battle axe. +1 magical battle axe. However, I am also going to have Evan imbue that battle axe with the flaming spell.
Ooh, a flaming enchantment on the old axe?
Yeah, we don't need to get into it, Evan, okay? Just sell me the fucking axe, okay? And then I am also, in lieu of picking up a hand axe like I used to use, I'm going to switch it up. And I am instead going to pick up a spiked light steel shield that, of course, is a +1 imbued with a higher armor class steel shield. So now I am going to fight with a flaming battle axe and a spiked steel shield that I'm going to bash people's face in with.
Fantastic. Well, Mr. Firehide, that's quite the sea change. This is a pretty gnarly shield. Are you sure you're going to be able to handle all these spikes? Because they're like really sharp.
I think I got it, buddy. Now, if you'll do me a favor, actually, you know what? You're not the guy to dress me. Look at you. You're wearing a belt for a rope. What idiot wears it? Come on. So, yeah, I think that's all I'm going to need from you, Evan. And then I think I'm going to go see Miss Lamstrand.
Oh, my.
To get...
Okay.
You're making me regret it already.
All right. Real quick, just so I can have this clear in my head canon. What does this spiked shield look like? So you got a metal shield. It's got spikes on the front of it to help you tear apart your enemies. What does this look like? Is it like a ring of spikes around the rim? Is it like fully spiked top to bottom? We got some cool patterns and shit on this, or like what are we looking at?
So I think there's spikes around the rim and perhaps like one kind of in the center as well.
Yeah.
But I think the signature part of the shield is that I would like it, with DM's permission, to be custom painted to reflect the symbol of the protagonist. The Protos
Fantagonist
symbol. That will take it.
Keeping that in. What I meant to say is, fantastic, is what I meant to say. So you have this new shield, this new arsenal in your war against evil, this terrible weapon that's also defensive, and you are having it emblazoned with the symbol of Protos, the sort of expressionless mask with the sword and arrows crossed behind it.
Yep.
Fantastic. Yeah, it is a lovely shield, a lovely weapon and armor, and yeah, it fits you like a glove. So you're gonna head to Lamstrand's studio.
Yeah, I am. I explicitly don't invite Rilla. I know I'm already out and about, but we don't need to get lost in the weeds of another fashion show.
Okay. Yeah. So you roll up to Lamstrand Studio, this massive, intimidating structure at the end of a long street lined with high-end shops. There is, as usual, the coterie of hangers-on, rich nobles and merchants in incredibly dramatic high fashion, like, foot tall high heels and angular, like, molded coats and gowns, lots of feathers, lots of scales and stripes and patterns. And you stroll in wearing a fucking rope belt and You see Charissa Lamb-Strand, the greatest fashion designer in all of Meosha, berating one of her assistants as you walk in. This assistant is like holding a bolt of silk, and you see Charissa wearing a gown that looks like it's made of some sort of viscous green fluid. You're not exactly sure how she's keeping it on her, but it seems to be like moving. Almost like a membrane around her. Her hair is done up in like just two enormous curved horns that are bound with like a green webbing. And she turns dramatically, her dress like shimmering and oozing around her as you come in. She says,
I raise my shield and like reach for my axe.
yeah, there's like a light splatter as she turns to see you. Oh my word! What in heaven's name? What is this? What has happened? Oh, by the gods, no!
I was gonna ask you the same thing. Are you being eaten by an ooze right now?
Gelatinous cubes are the next cotton. You listen to me, young man. I know what I'm about.
Nope. You're making me question myself for even walking in here, to be honest. I'm concerned. Please, don't make me clothes that are gonna eat me.
Well, I suppose you're not advanced enough for something that flows so wonderfully and grips so wonderfully, but
Definitely not.
what are you looking for? I don't sell everyday streetwear, mind you.
No, consider me minded. I'm just saying, look, had a spell of misfortune, and may or may not have lost everything of value to me that I ever possessed. And then I fell into a big old sack of money and bought a bunch of new stuff back. It was great. But I did lose my road attire. As you can see, these are the only clothes that I'm wearing.
Do you mean to tell me, Mr. Firehide, that you lost the custom outfit I crafted for you? That I worked my fingers to the bone for?
Yeah, no, a dude cut it right off of me and then burned it right in front of me. It was horrible. It was really probably the most traumatic thing that happened to me was him
What is
burning.
the name of this man?
Oh, it's irrelevant. His name's irrelevant. You can write that down. Irrelevant.
Susan? Irrelevant? Right? We will find this irrelevant and we shall draw in court to him for his sins.
Yep, exactly. But honestly, though, ma'am, I did lose all of my clothing, and I'm getting ready to set out, on a grand adventure as a chosen protagonist, and I thought, who better to dress me than you, right? I mean, as a symbol, as a beacon of hope for our people in these times of trouble, who better to dress me, So here I am, humbly asking you to, find my next stop.
Yes, here you are.
Please, for the love of God, make sure it doesn't eat me.
Here you are, a dirt-smeared cowboy, asking the greatest genius of high fashion to make you garments to go stomping through the woods in. Of course I'll do it, of course. How much money do you have?
Well, yeah, see, on the scale of what mattered to me, ultimately how I dressed did fall on the low end of that. Ma'am, I have 325 gold pieces to my name, which I'm not sure if that's a lot to you or not. I think you and I may not be on the same level. I don't know.
I'll cut you a deal, sir. I will give you 3 durable adventuring outfits for that sum. However, you will need to do something for me.
Uh-huh.
You will have to tell every single person you come across where you got these garments. You will spread the name of Lamb-Strand to every dirty sinkhole and pile of rubble you scrabble across.
Ma'am, I do occasionally find myself in a sinkhole, but are you aware they call me the Knight of Heroes? Are you aware that I am an honorary bard of the college? I went to a highfalutin wedding and only happenstantially ended up to be naked by the end of it. I don't just slum it about. I know the diviner by her first name. The
You son of a bitch. Fine, you've made your point. I suppose clothing someone with such a public profile would be good for business either way. I will sell you these garments, but every one of them shall bear my insignia, and you will proudly show them off to everyone you come across. Do we have an agreement, Mr. Firehide?
Yes, ma'am.
Susan, provide the gentleman with some suitable garments. And the assistant, holding the bolt of silk that was being just viciously berated not moments ago, scurries off into the back, relieved at the break in the torrent. And comes back with some solid outfits for you. You have 3 sets of adventure. You have 2 sets of adventuring clothes, and you have 1 set of fine clothing. The adventuring clothes are made of stout materials. One is all in blue and cream. A lovely cloak, boots, and a lovely leather embroidered vest. Another one is all earth tones, browns and greens, a bit more your liking, I would assume, with a amazing trench coat, wide lapels, cuffed sleeves. It just barely scrapes the ground as you walk by, and the thing seems to flutter almost constantly, even in this room where there's no wind. And of course, a beautiful black Stetson. And yeah, the last bit is silk with lace at the neck and wrists, and very soft and horribly impractical boots, all in scarlet red and gold.
Yep, that'll do.
Until next time, darling. Try not to get these ruined.
I'll do my best. I'll do my best. And then I cry a little because the trauma.
All right. You head back to the college?
I sure do.
Hey there, listeners. It's Sam, your Dungeon Master, and I have some exciting news. We here at Challenge Rating Zero have our very first sponsor, Apotheosis Comics and Lounge. Find them on South Grand or at their new location on Cherokee Street. Or, for those of you listeners not living in St. Louis, Missouri, find them at shopapotheosis.com. Voted St. Louis's best comic book store twice over by the Riverfront Times, Apotheosis Comics and Lounge should be your one-stop shop for comics, graphic novels, D&D swag, and more. Not only can you find the latest titles from your favorite superheroes, but you can do so with a cold, locally sourced beer from your favorite St. Louis breweries. That's right. Not only can you find comics and cold beers at Apotheosis Comics and Lounge, but you might also come across yours truly, running one of my favorite role-playing games, Dungeons & Dragons. Apotheosis Comics and Lounge, the latest and greatest sponsor of the latest and greatest D&D podcast, Challenge Rating Zero. Check them. You are all hanging out in your various spots in the college. What are you guys doing? Hector, you got a thing?
Yeah, sometime after breakfast while he's shopping, I actually
For sure.
would like to go and visit. Well, actually, now that I think about it, is the day after a wedding. So maybe that's not even possible. I would like to talk to the diviner. Is that even a thing right now?
You can certainly try.
I will go and visit the diviner and see if she's in.
Cool. You go head to the Diviner's Tower, this beautiful and seemingly impossibly thin spire on the very outskirts of the city of Everspring, standing taller than any other structure, with a broad courtyard in front of it still bearing some of the scorch marks from the fire last night, but it has been completely cleared of all of the benches, the feasting tables, the chairs, and the lovely archway that was erected in front of the doors. And it now features 2 knights of the Order of the Quill flanking the door in shining silver armor, holding halberds. They both nod to you as you approach. One of them says, "Oh, is that the gatekeeper? Hey there, Hector. How you doing?"
Indeed, it is me. Is the diviner in today? I don't know. Are they doing a honeymoon thing? I don't know what the standards of marriage in Everspring are exactly.
That's a fair question, Mr. Gatekeeper. The diviner's definitely in. I'm sure any other people would have taken some time to, rest, but I believe Miss Shira is back at the clinic dealing with some of the fallout from last night's proceedings. So she's busy, and the diviner has not left the tower since yesterday. So, if you got business, you're free to go in.
It is both lovely and awful that is the case. I shall see to my business.
No rest for the wicked, am I right? Yeah. You walk in through the large double doors at the base of the tower, going through the anteroom and the office. You do not see the diviner anywhere, but the doors open on their own at your approach, and you climb the spiral staircase. You head up to the mirror-lined interior of this tower, this enormous empty space full of mirrors, each of which flicker with images of far-off lands and locales. Some of them framing individuals as they go about their day, and hovering in midair between all of these mirrors is the diviner herself. Woman with long blonde hair, her eyes covered with a silk scarf, and a flurry of small blue orbs swarming around, flitting back and forth between different mirrors before returning to the palm of her hand and flitting back out again. One of these blue orbs descends and rests right in front of your face as you come into this, to the tower proper. And the diviner says, almost absentmindedly, "Ah, yes, the gatekeeper. What can I do for you, Hector?"
Well, I guess, congratulations again. When we first met, wasn't exactly, we didn't get to truly meet, I would say. I would say that I was window dressing for the main event of the meeting, which was you and Ruger coming face to face. So as it stands, let me make myself a proper introduction. I am Hector of the Gatekeeper clan. I am also a bard of the College of Everspring. I come to you not as a friend of Ruger, but as a concerned individual that perhaps you might be the only one I know to turn to for help.
Well, Hector, that sounds rather serious. My work is taxing, but I suppose I could take some time to hear you out. And she slowly floats down from her lofty position to click down onto the marble floor you're standing on. 3 of these blue orbs buzz in a circle around her head as she regards you with them. I am the diviner of the Diviner's Tower, and envoy for the Council of Loremasters. Now that that's all done, what can I do for you, Gatekeeper?
As you say, you are the diviner. Divination is a school of magic that some, not the most intelligent of people, would say is a weak school of magic. Those who understand how the world works understand that it is possibly the most powerful school of magic.
Well, you have the right of it there. The knowledge I am able to acquire on behalf of the Lore Masters and to pursue my own ends is quite significant.
Well, I have come to you to ask for advice when it comes to something that I think falls under the purview of divination, or at the very least is a cousin.
You have my attention, Gatekeeper.
What do you know of fortune telling?
Now, that is a very interesting question. The telling of fortunes is a tricky business. Even the most powerful remaining masters of divination are hardly able to pierce the veil of time and space in order to bring back glimpses of what might be. Any two-bit con man can make up a prophecy off the top of their head, but to truly know what is to be, that is quite a trick.
And yet, me and several of my friends, on occasion, some time ago, drew cards. Now, one by one, each of these cards has come to pass. Our dear friend Inga, who provided the cards, she drew the void, and her soul has been sucked from her body. I drew the Urali, and indeed I found myself struck with a petrification poison and fighting for my very life against a Medusa. Zurabak drew the throne, and not too long thereafter found that he was the heir to a dukedom and inherited a keep. And Ruger drew ruin. And not even 24 hours ago, in front of his eyes, every worldly possession was destroyed in front of him. Each of these cards has come true. I wanted for a long time to deny, but it's undeniable at this point. I've come to you because there is one card that has not come true yet. Our friend Rilla, she drew death.
Oh, well, that is quite dramatic, isn't it? Tell me, Hector, the woman that drew these cards, Inga Hilltopple? Daughter of Regdar and Mira Hilltopple, mother of Olga and Inga Hilltopple of the Hilltopple trading family?
I would have to fact check some of that, but I'm going to assume that you are correct.
She snaps her fingers, and one of the mirrors next to you on the wall shimmers, and the scene warps and changes. And instead of a rolling grassy plain, it now focuses on a very familiar form, lying peacefully as if asleep in a soft feather bed in the back of a rolling wagon. You see Inga. I am, you may be surprised to learn, well aware of Inga Hilltopple. We are
we were acquainted long ago. Back in the days when I used to travel, she came to me asking similar questions. It would seem her family had some sort of ancestral connection to the arts of divination. She had visions. Now, these needed to be channeled through certain folksy rituals, focused on cards, as you put. But I did find, as I'm sure you did, that her predictions were uncomfortably accurate. If she drew cards for all of you, and they all came to be true, then, my dear gatekeeper, there is a dark path that lies before your companion, Rilla.
There are few things I have worked as hard for in my life, and I come from a people that are labor intensive. There are few things that I have worked as hard for in my life as I worked to prevent Inga's void card from coming true. And no matter what I did, no matter what we did, it happened. I refuse to believe that there is not a way to change this fortune. And that is why I've come before you today.
Well, Hector, I must say, that is quite the audacious philosophy. Even after being shown that your future is in many ways unavoidable, you still wish to change the fate of your companion. That is a noble pursuit, I'll grant, though I'm not sure what it is in my admittedly expansive toolset I might do to change it. You have faced the threats that were predicted by Mrs. Hilltopple, and you all came out alive, though I can understand that the one awaiting Rilla is far more dire. What do you recommend that I bring to bear against this unfortunate future?
I don't know. If I knew, I wouldn't be here. If I knew how to change this, I wouldn't seek the advice of an expert in the subject. I would do it. You, as far as I am aware, are the most knowledgeable when it comes to the art of divination. There must be something.
She pauses at that. The blue orbs around her head stop spinning for a moment, and she cocks her head to the side, thinking, and says, "Oh, well, there may be some details I could bring to light that might be useful, though I'm not sure if they can be brought to bear against this situation. When Inga came to me to get some insight into her skills, she came with the focus for those skills, the deck of cards you mentioned. Dreadfully primitive tools, though I suppose whatever works, works. There was a pattern to them. A system. They seemed tied somehow to the tapestry itself. They predicted the future, but in, well, predictable patterns. You drew the Yearly, Firehide drew Ruin, and Zurbak drew the Throne. A curse, terrible loss, and a keep. If I remember correctly, the death facing your companion is not so abstract as her heart simply stopping. I believe that this card predicted specifically some malevolent spirit, an embodiment of death, a tortured shadow, a figment from the beyond, sent specifically to bedevil your companion. And I believe that she must face it alone. I did a bit of research into the cards that Inga used. They each had a very protracted story based on her family's surprisingly long history. I won't bore you with all the details, but if I remember specifically about the death card, when this specter of death crosses young Rilla's path, any who raise a hand to aid her in facing it, well, they will draw to themselves their own specter of death that they will have to face on their own. This may not be what you wish to hear, my dear gatekeeper, but the fate that lies ahead of young Rilla might be one that is best faced alone.
Understood.
These are not easy words to hear. They are not easy words to say, believe me. And it is a noble heart indeed that would strive to do anything that they can to thwart this looming threat. But we can only carry our friends so far. Sometimes they must carry themselves. But though the destination may be grim, and though approaching the final summit may be a singular task, the road there, I think, would be a much easier one with companions by her side. And if she is to somehow survive the specter of death, she will of course need companions to, well, nurse her back to health. In other words, my dear gatekeeper, being there for her now, being there for her afterwards, may be all that you can do. And, considering the research I've done into each and every one of you, particularly in the case of young Rilla, having friends, having companions, steadfast companions that do not want anything of her, that expect nothing of her, could be the greatest gift you could give. Are you aware of what that child has been through?
Only what she's been willing to share and what I have witnessed. I have met a single other member of her community, and I did not care for her.
She was tortured, my boy, as a child. Rilla Longshadow represents the first elf in an entire generation born in the secluded Springvale forest with magic in her blood. The wizarding arts, as you know, completely destroyed when the glyph purge hit. No spell books, no scrolls. The only magic that can be done, magic like my own and magic like yours, is either born into you or borrowed from the gods of stories. Rilla was born with magic, and because the elders of her village believed that magic to be the key to keeping their people secluded, isolated, safe in their forest, they performed horrific experiments on her. They drew her blood, they cut into her flesh, they tried to see if they could take what was inside of her out to use for their own ends. She was isolated, abused. It is beyond recounting, and honestly not my tale to tell. But it is my opinion that staying beside her and being there for her, asking nothing of her, could be the greatest gift. If she is to face death, at least she will have friends to see her off properly.
I understand what you are saying, and I refuse to see her off.
I suspected you might, my boy. I suspected you might. I will tell you this. The four of you protagonists represent the most important effort in the history of this entire institution. You are working to end the glyph purge, and more than that, you are working to restore the tapestry, to end these holes in reality, to fight against a cult that wishes to destroy everything. I will be keeping several eyes on all of you. Know that wherever you go, there is someone watching over you that wishes, desperately wishes, for you to succeed. And any tangible aid I can provide, I will. Until then, I can only say that my own research into the identity of this Lord Deceiver may be bearing fruit sooner than I'd hoped. And that, at least, is something to look forward to.
Well, thank you for your candor. I will take what you have said, and I will use it as best I can to keep my friends safe.
You are welcome, Hector. You and your friends are always welcome in the tower. You are far too important to ignore. And trust me, wherever any of you go, I will be watching.
I am sure. And with pressing business out of the way, if I may speak personally, asking a man to guard over his ex-wife's wedding is callous and unfair. I hope you and Shira have a lovely life. And I leave.
She stands stock still, blank-faced, and as you get to the stairs, the spiral staircase leading down, you make that turn so she's in your line of sight once more, and you see a wry grin in the corner of her mouth, and her shoulders start to shake with light laughter as you walk out. You get back to the college about the same time Ruger does. Rilla, did you have a thing?
Yeah, so after they leave, Rilla doesn't say goodbye to Zurabak because that'd be dumb. She just walks off. And she goes out to that cliff that overlooks the giant lake she's been in.
Mm-hmm.
And she sits there for a while, kind of like psyching herself up, I think is how I'd go with it. There's a lot of like panicky breathing and calming down, and panicky breathing and calming down. And then finally, she says, fuck it, out loud, quietly to herself, stands up, runs off the cliff, jumps, and casts polymorph and turns into a copper dragon.
Fuck yeah.
Which she can manage in a very young age with her hit dice level.
Holy shit. You stand on a rocky promontory overlooking Lake Daneum, the kidney-shaped lake that nestles against the city of Everspring, and after psyching yourself up, you jump off of that rocky outcropping, and in mid-air, your flesh ripples and pebbles into beautiful copper scales. Your shoulder blades stretch with a terrible creaking and unfurl into long, leathery wings. Your face extends into a fanged snout. A fringe trails along your back, and a long tail unfurls from behind you. And you hit the water?
No, I catch a spiral of wet and updraft, and I do that spirally thing. And I picked the copper dragon, FYI, because they're the good aligned prankster dragon. And
yeah,
that's
for
Rilla.
sure. Abso-fucking-lutely. Yes.
They're my favorite
Yeah.
kind of dragon, by the way, just if anyone's keeping track at home.
And Rilla just soars as high up as she can, as close to the sun as she can get, in spiraling circles on that updraft.
Your mighty wings beat a powerful downbeat, rising you up into the air. You soar higher and higher, spiraling ever upward until the lake and the city below you dwindle to the size of a model in a toy shop. You go ever upward, up over the clouds, until you see pure sky, the Everspring Mountains towering below you, and the Springvale Forest stretching out like a carpet underneath them.
Cool. Yeah, I think that relaxes a lot of tension that she was holding. I think her dragon shoulders relax. I have it for about 9 minutes, so she keeps an eye on time so she doesn't die. But yeah, that's what she does.
You breathe deeply in your powerful dragon lungs of the pure mountain air. And yeah, you feel revitalized from the top of your scaled brows to the tips of your talons as you sail on updrafts, completely removed from the burdens down below. Beautiful. Zerabak, you got a thing? What do you want to do?
Well, Zerabak's definitely bored.
Sure.
This city's awful. Everything about it's awful and weak and pitiful.
Absolutely.
So Zerabak probably visits the stricken.
Tight. Yeah. You walk through the horrendously brightly painted streets of Everspring, wading through the happy and absolutely defenseless citizens of this decadent town. The songs trilling sharply in your ears, and the traders hawking their wares in their meaningless pursuit of the acquisition of bits of metal that you can't even eat. And eventually you make your way to the broad stone slab that makes up the elevator down to the depths of Grotmire, where the dwarves live. The sun disappears over you as you descend into this enormous hollow column that the dwarves have built their city into. Enormous spiral ramp curving up the inside of this mountain, lined with stone homes and shops. The bearded dwarves bustling about, ever industrious, and the ringing of anvils and the roar of industry nearly deafening you as you make your way down to the prison. Black armored dwarven guards allow you in without even a glance as you make your way into the pitch black prisons of Grotmire and find your way to the cell of Anthony Geist the Stricken. You find the iron bars, and you see him sitting cross-legged on a straw pallet playing cat's cradle with a bit of string.
Zerabak, I'm surprised to see you.
Why are we still here?
He regards you with eyes as black as obsidian. They don't even gleam in the darkness here, and says, I was waiting for you all to finish up with your personal matters before I sent you out on another mission. This one could get ugly. There is another piece of my grand spell that needs recovering. A death's head orchid. I know where one might be found. In the Springvale Forest.
Ugh, trees.
We'll need to head out rather quickly, though I fear what we'll find when we get there. When we passed the Springvale Forest not too long ago, the Badlands had started their encroachment. I dare say
Whatever we find in the forest will be ghastly. If you can inform the rest of your protagonists that you're ready to go, perhaps we could have the lore masters open a portal.
They're still doing their things.
Well, I could certainly stretch my legs.
You want to go in the sack?
Oh, Zurabak, I don't think that will be necessary. With your sister's newly won allegiance, I've got a few tricks up my sleeve. He blinks his pitch black eyes, and his form ripples as you look at him. And instead of a gnome with a shock of white hair, a beak of a nose that you've become so accustomed to, you see instead a nondescript human man. Short brown hair, completely average features, dressed in rough spun, like burlap clothing, the same as he was wearing in his previous form. I think this might be better able to fit in. Wouldn't want to give the locals a scare, and I know the rest of the protagonists aren't such a fan of me causing a ruckus.
Zerback shrugs.
If you'll tell the guards that I'm ready to leave.
Zerback shrugs. And walks away.
Do you tell the guards he's ready to leave?
Yeah. Zerback's ready to go.
As you find the closest guard, a dwarf in black lacquered armor, around a corner, you see Helga and Olga walking up. They're both holding steaming hot, looks like sticky buns that they're both kind of noshing on as they come back your way. Olga, the black-haired sister, says, Zurabek, are you taking our ward back out into the wide world?
I ignore them. And continue walking to find a guard.
Yeah, there's a guard, like, standing right there.
Open the stupid door.
Helga says, the red-haired sister says, Zurabek? Hello, Zurabek? Are you taking the stricken out again? Okay. You'll be with him the whole time, yes?
Probably.
Okay. Do the others know you're taking him out again? Okay. Well, I guess we'll just stay here then. Wait for you to come back. The dwarven guard gives you a quick salute, walks over to the stricken cell, opens the gate, and the stricken in his new nondescript human form strides out, and Helga and Olga both go, "What the fuck is that? Who is that? No. This is not the stricken. This is not who we are guarding. What is this?"
Stricken.
The dwarven guard blinks and says, "Wasn't there a gnome in here earlier? What? I don't remember."
Yeah, he grew up.
He grew up?
Yep, got bigger.
All right,
That's what gnomes do.
I'm not paid enough for this anyway. Just take him. We're evolving door around here. I swear to Protos. What are we even doing? Olga looks at the stricken as you walk him out of the prison and says, "You may have everyone fooled, but I smell the darkness on you. You have not escaped imprisonment. As long as our mother lays in wait, we will chase you to the 9 hills and back if we need to." And the stricken says, "I wouldn't have it any other way." When the light begins to fade and all that's left is doubt and dread.
Zerback covers his mouth. Learn a new song.
He chuckles at that and quietly hums under his breath. So you guys go back to the college. So after buying shit, after talking to the diviner, after going for a quick fly, just going for a quick fly and retrieving the stricken, you all wander back to the College of Everspring. You all meet outside the main entrance to the college, and Zerback's got a friend.
As soon as Hector sees Rilla, he's just gonna go over and he's gonna scoop her up into a big hug.
What are you doing? Hey there. Hey. And there's a very awkward shoulder pat. You okay there?
Quietly into her ear, Hector just says, "You're never alone."
Okay. That's not creepy at all. Thank you.
You all see Zerback approaching with a very, almost incredibly average-looking human man walking beside him. And in a horrendously familiar voice, this human man says, "So, we've gathered once more.
Oh, God damn it.
Zerback had the foresight to fetch me. There is another piece of my spell that needs to be recovered."
Okay, that's not fair. Vote right now that he's not allowed to change who he is, because that's my thing. That's my thing.
You'll have to forgive me, Rilla. I thought it would be best.
I would like to side with you there, Rilla, but the last time he was allowed to just, kind of be himself, he gained followers, so let's...
It's not even himself. It's a dead guy when he's the gnome.
That's actually accurate. The form of Sebastian Weaver is not my true form. Neither is this one. I don't think anyone alive knows what I actually look like.
Let's keep it that way.
In any case, the last form I took, you were all convinced would cause a stir. So, here I am, in disguise. Shall we tell the lore masters where we're going next?
I think it would probably behoove us if you tell us where we're going next.
Oh, of course. We've retrieved a dagger that can cut through the tapestry. The next piece we need is a death's head orchid. They are incredibly rare flowers that grow only at the site of bloody betrayal. I happen to know where some might be found. The Springvale Forest.
No, says Rilla immediately. No, nope. And she just kind of walks away a little bit.
Who did you betray there?
Who are you talking to?
The stricken.
Oh, Hector, I did my betraying a long time ago. It takes quite a while to cultivate these plants. When I walked the world as a man, I did terrible things in order to harvest the first of the Death's Head orchid. I happen to know of a spot where they grow now. A fresher betrayal, if you will. There is a tree at the heart of the Springvale Forest, the Martyr's Tree. In the shadow of the crimson boughs of this ancient tree, we will find what we need, though I doubt the elves will be too terribly eager to allow us access to it. I doubt even Rilla has heard of the Martyr's Tree.
I don't think Rilla literally can go. Do you not remember last time we bumped up against the edge of the forest and it shoved me away?
Let me in just fine.
Stupid trees.
That's not...
I thought you liked trees. Is the city life growing on you, Zerback?
No. Stupid buildings.
Just gotta ask, have I heard any stories about the Martyrs Tree at all?
Roll a bark knowledge check.
I would ask, but I have no knowledge local or nature or anything that isn't Arcana.
Sure.
So I doubt Rilla knows.
Just as a note, my knowledge history is better than my bardic knowledge.
This is incredibly obscure lore. This you got to roll real fucking high on this to know anything about it.
Cool. Gotcha.
Could I roll knowledge nature on the plant?
Yes.
I rolled pretty well, but it's going to be a 19.
Ugh. Just
Yeah.
yeah. Unfortunately, that's not quite enough. You've heard stories about ancient elven sacrifice rituals, but you don't know anything about a martyr's tree. What'd you get, Zerback?
27?
Holy shit. Yeah, Zerback, you've heard of Death's Head orchids. This is less secret lore. Basically, Death's Head orchids are special flowers that are imbued with powerful necromantic magical energy. They are sort of like spell batteries. They are tiny living organisms that contain within them a incredible amount of concentrated spell power, particularly of the necromantic school of magic, and the only way to get them to grow anywhere is to plant them or have the seeds end up someplace where a horrific bloody betrayal has taken place. Someone has to be murdered by their loved ones, basically, or trusted friends. And their blood has to spill on the ground for these plants to grow. It is rumored that they don't even need seeds in some cases, and they just grow spontaneously if the betrayal is bad enough.
Neat.
Hearing this, I turn upon Rilla and I strike her down.
The Stricken says, Rilla, your fears are perfectly valid, but it should be noted that the reason why the forest rejected you is because of the taint of the Badlands oozing into the exterior. I would not be surprised if the bards at the college here have a portal directly into the heart of the forest. And if worst comes to worst, I have regained some small sliver of my former power. I might be able to safeguard you from the effects.
Stupid Badlands.
Yeah, stupid Badlands. I guess my path always ended up going back there no matter what, right? Let's go home, I guess.
Stupid swamp.
That is where we will end. Hello and welcome to As the Dice Turns, the podcast after the podcast, where we take a deep dive into our player characters' motivations, characterizations, frustrations, and try to get a better understanding of them as people. In this portion of our show, we like to ask each of our protagonists a question and see if we can't unearth some deeper truth about them. The question for today is, what is your relationship with religion? Our protagonists all live in a world where the gods are present and known. Narrativa, goddess of stories, Protos, god of heroes, and of course, for those with a different alignment, the Stricken, Lord of the End. I'm curious to see what our character's relationship is with religion and how that carries out in their day-to-day life. This time, I think we'll start with Ruger Firehide. Ruger, how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing just fine, hosts. And yourself?
I'm doing fine as well. The skate park is growing faster than I think I'd like. There's some grind rails being put in, and there's just a
Well, see, here's the problem, host. Snake, real cult of personality. That guy. He just can't help but attracting followers. And as our followers grow, so too must the skate park.
I
Right?
suppose so. I mean, Snake is radical. I mean, I can't argue that. There seems to be a lot of tension brewing.
Snake is a real charmer, man.
Seems to be a lot of tension brewing between the skaters, the skateboarders, and the rollerbladers. I just don't want to see that turn into a kerfuffle. I'm sure there's plenty of skate park for everyone.
No kerfuffle. All we need is Rilla and her, blasphemers to give up their false beliefs, and everything will be fine. All they need to do is return to the board, right?
Ruger, that's a really chill vibe that I'm really glad you're bringing to the space here. And I guess that's a great intro to our question here. Ruger, what is your relationship to religion? How do you feel about the gods that made the world you live in? What's your relationship to the divine?
Well, host, I guess I would say in a word, my relationship is evolving. I would say the younger Ruger believed in Narrativa's path and followed it to its natural conclusion. And then Mr. Fireheart was reborn in the flames. And in those flames, he was chosen by Protos. And now where I'm at in my life is that I feel like I need to walk the path once more. Now, as an active protagonist in the world around me, that it is my responsibility to save the world from its greatest affliction. So, I guess I would say I feel chosen. I feel as if the eyes of the gods have been on me since the very beginning, and that for that I've paid a terrible price.
Well, that is interesting. So you feel a personal connection to the gods that watch over the Isle of Myosha. Obviously, as a paladin, you tap into some of their power to make you more formidable in battle and steady your mind and your will in the heart of conflict. I am curious. You said you used to walk the path of Narrativa, the goddess of stories, and now you walk the path of Protos. I'm curious how you view the difference between those paths.
Well, the lawman, Ruger, lived in Narrativa's world. And that story ended in Grimm's Hollow. Ruger Firehide is a man born out of action and born unto the boon of a different god, I guess.
That's very interesting. So I suppose you see your role now as embodying the portfolio of Protos. You're more active, more driven, more taking more agency in your role in the world. Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely, yeah. In the past, I was part of the story. Now it's my job to help drive the story.
I think that is very well said, Ruger. A fascinating answer, and one that we very much appreciate. Thank you very much for that insight.
Hastas and luegos, hosts.
All right. Next up, we've got Rilla Longshadow. Rilla, pleasure to have you in the studio as always. How are you?
I'm doing great, host. As you can see, my beloved cat is now a enthusiastic rollerblader. And I don't know if you know this, but Rutherford, he's been talking to the other cats around here. And let's just say we've got a bit of a following of our own. And as Rilla kind of beckons, a series of house cats, and then like tomcats, and then like a couple maybe like small leopards Who knows? I'll come in on rollerblades.
Oh my God, is that Larry Lynx? Oh, that guy shreds. Hell yeah. Wow. This is a real... Now, Rilla, I will say, as radical as these cats are, just getting around on these rollerblades, and I can't believe you found 4 rollerblades for every single one of these cats, I think this does make you a crazy cat lady.
You know what? I'm okay with that. Maybe the world
Okay.
needs to be a bit more crazy.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if I know anything about my studio and having you 4 in it every fucking week, that's accurate. That's very crazy, just kind of follows y'all. Well, if you could
Like,
stop...
if those losers want to pick up my old habits that I got bored with. I mean, skateboarding was easy. This 4 rollerblades on 4 feet, that's difficult.
It's quite a feat of engineering, I will say. If you could just stop grinding for just 1 second, we do have a question for you. The question for today, Rilla Longshadow, is what's your relationship to religion? How do you incorporate that into your life, if at all? What's your relationship with the gods?
Complicated. So when I was little and my parents were around, they worshiped Narrativa and taught me how to do so. And, I guess showed Dara too, though God knows what she remembers from that time. Probably nothing. And it was just part of our family life, a small altar in our home, some basic prayers, a time together. And then they died. And then my magic appeared. And between the platitudes of this must be part of the story, so you shouldn't mind that it happened, and the torture, while the rest of the village still continued to worship Narrativa, soured me on it. And I'd honestly hit a point where I thought maybe she died already, Maybe we were in a world without gods. And then that little bastard showed up and proved me wrong. So now I know they're real, and I know they're out there, and they changed our world and continue to be able to do so. And technically I still worship Narrativa, but I don't attend services anymore. Let's just go with that.
Well, that is quite a thorough answer. I certainly appreciate that. I do weep for what you went through, and I think anyone facing events like that would definitely have their faith shaken. I do think it is interesting, something you touched on, that whether he intended to or not, Anthony Geist the Stricken reaffirmed your faith in a manner of speaking. It's
not faith anymore. What's that line? It's not faith when you know it's real. There's no leap to the belief. They exist.
Well, I guess that begs the question then, if you believe in their message. I think Ruger called it the path. Especially now as a protagonist, a chosen of Protos, the god of heroes. Does that impact the way you see the world or how you carry yourself? Or is it just pragmatic business as usual?
I think all we have is our choices. And if you ascribe the path to something else and that helps power you, great. But at the end of the day, you choose who you are. I choose to be good despite the evil that was committed against me. And that's not because of Narrativa.
That's very well said. That's very well said. All we have are our choices. Those are some heavy words. Very, very, very well put. Well, thank you very much, Rilla, for your candor. We certainly appreciate it. You've given us a lot to think on.
Yeah, I'm going to try and go recruit some non-feline skaters. I feel like we probably need somebody with opposable thumbs besides me. So So
That's a good idea. And oh my God, is that a mouse? Oh my God, is that a mouse? Sharon! Sharon, there's a mouse! Sharon! Okay, that's just a nightmare. Okay, well, Sharon, we gotta get some mouse traps in here ASAP, Sharon. They're going insane. Oh goodness. Okay. Well, thanks, Rilla. Until next time. Next up, we've got Hektor the Gatekeeper, Keeper of the Gates. Hektor, how the hell are you?
Hector doesn't respond right away. Hector is and has been standing over next to the half pipe, with his arms crossed, just shaking his head at whoever is, currently going. It's my turn. Okay.
Hector, yeah, Hector, over here. Hector.
Host?
Hey there. I see you're a little busy just casting judgment on the skaters out there. Are they not meeting your approval?
Trash. They're complete trash.
Okay. Wow. And I can't help but notice, Hector, that you haven't really shown your stuff out there. Is there something you're waiting for, or
When this is the environment that I'm forced into, why would I be the one out there skating?
Sure. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. They're just not ready for you, I guess, is the thing. Well, all that aside, Hector, the question we have for today is, what is your relationship with religion? What's your relationship to the gods? Do you consider yourself a religious person? Does that impact your daily life?
Well, yes, I am a religious man. I follow the teachings of Narrativa and Protos. That is for sure. I guess I would say that perhaps I arrived there in a more roundabout way than others. I was engaging in the rituals before I knew that they were rituals. Stories have always meant a lot to me. I've always loved to listen and pass along stories. It wasn't until I was a bit older that I realized that doing so was following the whim of Narrativa herself.
Right.
Nonetheless, I found myself there, and I probably would be doing much the same things whether or not I ever found out that they were related to the path of Narrativa and the path of Protos. So I suppose I would say, yes, I am a religious man. I believe in the gods. I follow their teachings. But as for how that's impacted my life, probably not that much, honestly. I would still want to live up to the heroes that I hear of in my stories. I would still listen to stories. I would still pass them along.
Well, that's interesting. So the tenets of the goddess of stories and the god of heroes, these tenets are things you have just sort of naturally taken into your life as just a matter of course, and not something you give too terribly much thought to. It's reflexive, it's instinctual almost.
Yeah, it's flavor as opposed to anything actively changing how I am.
That's very interesting. Well, your devotion to stories, you enrolling in the Bard's College, you becoming a bard yourself certainly shows a passion for and a high regard for stories, the workings of the gods themselves. I think that answer shows true in your actions, Hector, and a very interesting stance to take. Yeah. We thank you for your candor and for your very straightforward answer. Thank you very much, Hector.
Of course. And Hector goes and takes his place back next to the half pipe, shaking his head disapprovingly.
Absolutely.
Fucking scooter kids.
It's called a razor, man. All right. Last but not least, we've got King of the Shocker Lizards, Champion of the Goats, Emperor of the Rats, and the Duke of the Isle of Neho, Zurabak, the Unburned. Zurabak, how are you today?
I'm tired. There's too many animals to wrangle now. They don't have enough fear in their hearts.
They don't have enough fear in their hearts. Are you talking about the gang of animals that your snake has put together that have dominated the skate park?
I am wary of them.
You're wary of... Zurabak, you're a druid. Command of the natural world is your entire bag. What... Are you saying these animals don't respect your authority? I mean, that's troublesome, because if you can't keep them in line, I think we're kind of boned. Who's calling the shots?
Snake.
Great. Excellent. Okay. Well, I'm sure that'll just end up fine, and there won't be a dizzyingly whimsical adventure at the end of all this. I'm sure everything will be great, and I won't be naked. Anyway...
You can lie to yourself all you want.
Yeah, I usually do. Zurabak, the question for today is, what's your relationship to religion? Are you a religious man? Does religion impact...
I don't know who religion is. I've never met them.
How do you feel about the gods, Zurabak?
Oh, the only one I ever met was the short one.
Okay. Let's do that. How do you feel about the stricken, Zurabak?
I liked him better when he screamed and fainted.
I think that's well documented. How do you feel about him as an entity? The grim lord of the end, the master of the void, the architect of the glyph purge, the greatest enemy to the gods and to bards that's ever lived. How do you feel about that?
I mean, at least he's doing something.
Now that is interesting. You think that the stricken is the only one taking an active role?
I mean, I've yet to meet the other two, and I feel like I'm kind of important.
That's a good point. Certainly none of the other gods are walking Miosha in the form of man. Do you think, as some might espouse, that the gods are working through proxies? Working through you and your companions, perhaps?
No one works through Zurabak. Zurabak works through things.
Okay. Well, Zurabak, the world of Miosha has 3 gods. Narrativa, Protos, and Antony Geist the Stricken. If you don't care for the first 2...
I don't even know who they are.
Okay. If you have no knowledge of the first 2, and you at least begrudgingly accept that the Stricken has taken an active role, would it be fair to say that you are more closely aligned to the Stricken's way of thinking?
Zurabak thinks for Zurabak.
Do you regard him highly?
No.
Do you care about his mission?
No.
Is there any power greater than yourself that you respect or acknowledge?
Zurabakzilla. That beautiful creation.
Gotcha. And this would be the insane hallucination of a giant lizard Zurabak the size of a building that destroys the world? You know, you got to be careful, Zurabak. Some philosophers theorize that if you believe in anything hard enough, it becomes real in a sense. How hard do you believe in Zurabakzilla? Okay, there's a thunderstorm rolling in outside. We're going to have to cut this short. Sharon, pull down the storm shutters. Thank you for listening to As the Dice Turns, a podcast after the podcast. Sharon and I thank you for listening to our little show here. And until next time, keep those dice turning.
He rises!
Why would you say these things? We specifically don't say these things to Zurabak.
Hey there, dear listeners. Sam the DM here, checking in with the credits at the end of the show. Challenge Rating Zero was edited by Audius Prime, aka Matt Sims. You can find him at audiusprime.com. Music for Challenge Rating Zero is provided by the harp wolf Danielle Williams. You can find more of her work at danielletaylorharp.bandcamp.com. You can listen to her album there called Why Are We Surprised When Seasons Change? It's a real banger. Additional music for Challenge Rating Zero is provided by Justin Ra. You can find more of his work, including tour dates, at justinra.com. If you'd like to reach out to us here at Challenge Rating Zero, you can find us on Twitter at challenge_ZER, the letter O. If you'd like to find us on Facebook, on Instagram, you can find us at Challenge Rating ZERO. If you want to reach out to us here, you can send us an email at challengeratingzero@gmail.com. Feel free to reach out. We love to hear from our listeners, and especially if you have a question for our As the Dice Turns segment, any questions we receive, we will read on air. Special thanks to our sponsor, Apotheosis Comics and Lounge, featuring 2 locations in the St. Louis area, one on South Grand and one on Jefferson. If you are interested in comic books or gaming, I highly recommend you check them out. You can go to shopapotheosis.com to see what kind of stuff they have in their inventory, and I highly recommend you swing by for a drink. That's shopapotheosis.com. Let's see, what else do we got here? I have a website, samthedm.com. If anyone in the St. Louis area is interested in hiring me for a private D&D game, you can reach out to samthedm.com and get in touch to, play some Dungeons and Dragons. If you would like to support us here at the show, we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/CR_0. Or you can just type Challenge Rating Zero in the search bar once you get to Patreon. You will find us, I guarantee it. We've got a little extra bonus content on there, and we'd sure appreciate the support of our dear, dear listeners. If you do not have the funds to support us financially, we totally understand, but we would appreciate it if you like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about the show, recommend it to your nerd compadres, give us a download, give us a review, a rating. That kind of stuff really helps us out here. And thank you all so very much for listening. We will see you next time. The next episode will be out in 2 weeks, which will be the 4th of July. Yeah. So that's when that'll be out. Thanks again for listening, folks. Take care of each other out there. Bye.